Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be walking over the brand new 1.21.50 update. If you haven't seen already, it just came out yesterday. It is one of the best updates I've seen in Minecraft for a while. Not only for scripters, not only for world builders, not only for just regular players. This update has changed the game. I'm going to be walking through a lot of new changes and improvements to the game for scripters and world builders. Also, we're going to be walking through some things if you just play the game normally and want to see how scripting has been improved. But with further ado, let's get started into the game. So, I'm going to open up the actual change log. So, let's actually hop into there. So, here's the change logs for this update. It's absolutely huge. So, we can see the 1.20.50 Bedrock change logs. Huge update. So, basically, there's a lot of cool stuff. We know we got the Creaking Heart, we have the Pale Gardens, all that cool stuff, the Creaking Mob, a lot of cool things, Eye Blossoms, Pale Garden Ambient Sounds. This is really cool, the Ambient Sounds feature. I'm going to get in that in a bit. We also have the Hanging Moss, the Moss Carpet. I'll go over this later. The Pale Trees. But what I think is very cool is the new updates to the scripting features. So, we have a few things. We have new internal features where we can now create different features. We can create new feature rules, which is really cool. But let's scroll down. We see Realms got some improvements. User interface got some improvements. But we're going to scroll down until we find... Oh, this is actually cool. This leafing screen got improved. And also, you can edit the amount of players that need to fall asleep before the actual sleep timeout goes, which is also cool. So we're going to scroll down more, though. Okay, so here is the technical updates. This is what I want to get into. So, check this out. Literally the second feature they listed was the new packet receive and packet send. This is absolutely huge. So this feature alone allows us to literally stop and send packets on a native scale. Huge. Script API will be absolutely incredibly improved off of this. So basically at the moment, it's not crazy big. So we're actually going to walk through how it looks. So we're actually in the source code. I just open up something so I can see how it works. Basically, this is the PokeBeard source code. But as you can see, there is a new import method called before events. So before events was added. So we can see if we go into the reference module, they have added a few new classes. So they have the packet receive before event and the packet send event. We also have a new event options, which is really cool. But basically, now we can import a before events object. This object allows us to change the packet send and receive. So we can now intercept packets and say, what's this packet ID? Okay, I don't want players to be able to move. I don't want blah, blah, blah. I don't want this. Let's say we're trying to find a specific player. Let's say, for example, we're trying to stop players from being able to do, any movement packets in claims, like anything. What we can do is we can say if not ev.sender, we're going to return. So any packets that are not from a sender, return it, because we're only looking for player stuff. Now we're going to look if ev.packetID is not equal to packet. Let's see. So we can do packetID dot. Now we can choose a packet. So these are all the packets Minecraft has available. So we could be like, we don't want any player to, let's see, off input. Player off input. There you go. So let's say we don't want a player to do anything, absolutely anything when they are in a claim. So we can do this. So before the server receives a player off input packet, so a player off input packet, it's like a packet that gets sent when a player wants to move around. They want to open up a chest. They want to do anything where they're inputting something into their input, and they want to send that to the server. So we can literally stop everything. So let's say if I did this right here, I just did ev.cancel. I can stop every single packet that the server receives if there is a player sending that off input packet. Or let's say that ev.sender, now we know there's a player. let's say this player is actually frozen. So I could do like my player model, player moderations model. I can get, this is based on my source code, so you guys won't have this, but I can get my player input model from the ev.sender. So I can get their moderation model. And let's say this mod, let's say they are frozen. Let's say they're frozen. So if we get their inflictions, so we can actually get all their global inflictions, or I can just sort through their inflictions. So current inflictions.find infliction where e.type is equal to infliction type dot frozen. So let's say this. I have now got a packet from a player that they're requesting to move, but I know this player is frozen. And if I know they're frozen, so if this is true, we can just cancel that packet. Now we literally have stopped the player from sending any movement packets to the server. Now, the player still thinks they can move. So if I actually ran this, I'll still be able to move. I'll still be able to do things, but I won't actually move in the game. So it's just like stopping all other players from seeing it. It's stopping everything else from actually working. So this is pretty groundbreaking and pretty cool. There is so many more features. Although this packet doesn't show us like specific packet data, like usually you would be able to see what is this player doing, how far are they moving, what's the velocity, all the other details. You can't see that here. I don't know if Minecraft's going to add that. I really hope they do, because it's going to even make this way better. I mean, this is literally script API, but raw. It's just script API raw. It's so cool, and I think it's a very cool feature. So if you're making servers or anything, that's what we're going to go over. So I'm probably going to make another video about this with like tons of cool ideas and stuff that you can do with this. Like, think about it. You could now create custom events to be like, all right, I'm going to use some cool packet to send custom events over to my script API instead of just using like redoing some weird packet. So it's groundbreaking. I'm going to get over myself talking about this packet, but that's a cool new update. Now, let's go over some more stuff. So we've seen they added new theme things, audio, which is what I talked about earlier. So they now have this ambient sounds component, and they also have individual name sounds. So basically, we can now add new ambient sounds to specific biomes. Crazy. It's going to make biomes a lot cooler. Although we don't even have custom biomes yet. I don't know why they're edging us on with all this, but anyways. So we can see some tags got removed, blah, blah, blah. Here's something cool. They added, the delay command has already been in the game. I'm sorry, the /schedule command, but they now added a delay overload. The /schedule command was cool. I mean, who was really using it? All you could do was like stop the generation of people being in like some area. It was pretty much useless, I'm not going to lie. But they added a new delay overload to the schedule command. This is what I've been waiting for like the past 4 years. This like went back when we were all using functions to make add-ons and stuff. This was like we were begging for a feature like this, and now that we have script API, I don't really care too much. But if I was still making functions, if I was still using commands, this is groundbreaking. This is a super cool feature, because what it allows you to do is you can now schedule certain functions to take place. And before, if we wanted to do this, oh my gosh, it's crazy. We had to create a scoreboard. We had to create a constant tick timer. We had to check when the tick was greater than a certain threshold. Then we would run the command. Like it was stupidly complicated for a simple schedule feature. Now that we have this, it's pretty sad, because the stuff we had to do to make this stuff work was pretty incredible. But this is phenomenal. I'm going to make a video about the schedule command too. So keep note for that. So they also added some raw text percentages. So that's really cool. Big thing right here. The editor is finally a part of Bedrock. Yes. So the editor, I'm actually going to make a video about this too. The editor feature, which was been around, it's been around for like maybe a year now. They've added, actually probably 2 years. No, probably just a year. The editor feature was incredible. I never actually got to play around with it because you had to download like a whole new software. I wasn't too big on it. But now it's available in Bedrock. So anybody on Bedrock can now use it in the beta form. So I'm going to make a video on this. It's so cool. The stuff you can do not only with Script API, but with the editor features, phenomenal. So that's going to be really cool. So can attack ghast. That's weird. I don't know why they have a component for that. Okay. Can attack ghast. So look at locations. Ignore can't be attacked. Okay, some cool stuff. Play sound event response. Oh, the owner. Okay, so yeah, the entities can now emit sounds. That's cool. Okay, execute event on home block. That's actually really cool. So let's say I have a Pokemon and its home block is on this super block, and I can now execute an event when this Pokemon goes to the home block. That's cool. I like that. So emit particles. Okay, they added an event. Okay, that's actually really cool. Okay. Okay. Here's another huge one. I'm definitely gonna make a video on this. Jigsaw blocks. Okay, they actually talk about it a lot more down here, I'm pretty sure. But jigsaw blocks were added. Like they've already been in the game, but they were completely useless. Let's be honest. So there's actually they added a bit more down below. If I'll wait a little bit. We'll talk about it in a second. Okay, so they added they moved the memory tier and client memory tier to stable. Very cool. I talked about this in the last update. But yeah, so now you can check the specific memory of each client, like how low, how good are we using on memory. We can now check if the server memory is doing good. Very cool features. So additionally, added, it's just documentation for network. We don't really care about that unless you're making a server, which I kind of do, but okay, fix some soft lock UI. All right, not too big a deal. They removed the undetermined entry. That's actually really cool because before we weren't completely for sure if like this player had a good memory. Now we can be for sure, which is really cool. So I like that. Oh, trial spawner MBT. Oh, that's cool. You can now do normal omnis config. Okay, that's actually really cool. Okay. Ooh, can use block as icon to the block placer. Oh, that is cool. That is cool. Okay, so before, let's actually walk through. So let's say I have a block where it's like, for example, the fossils, if you watch the previous video of the fossils, they all use a specific item to place the block because we can't just give the player the block because it's going to like, it just doesn't work right. It's like you can't really place a block from the item. Now we can create the item on top of the block and now it can use the block as an icon. That's amazing because we don't have to create custom icons for these things. Very cool. I like that. And now we have collect runtime stats. This is cool. So now with debug utilities, we can now collect runtime stats from the server. Very cool. So it exposes the script runtime memory usage. Oh my gosh, this is phenomenal. I'm going to be creating a ton of new stuff with this. I'll probably make a video on this alone too. Probably just creating a feature that will collect runtime stats, send those details to my Discord, and say, hey, the server's running this. It's running pretty good. We'll see how it's going in the future. If it's too bad, we'll create some warning. Probably players are doing something bad they shouldn't be doing. Blah, blah, blah. Runtime stats, very cool. New feature added. Okay, this is also really cool. So they extended the player input permission script class. So now we can read if they're doing lateral movements, forward movements, back movements, sneaking, jumping, mounting, dismount. This is very cool. So we can now block players. You know how I was talking about earlier with the frozen feature? I could do it straight off of this alone. I don't even have to block their packets. I could be like, hey, this player's frozen. I don't want him moving at all. I don't want him sneaking. I don't want him jumping. I don't want him dismounting. We can block all that now. Very cool. They also added that to the input permissions command. So very cool. I like that feature. So fluid container components, initial rotation. I don't know why it took them so long to do this. We've been waiting for this a while. So now we can get the initial rotation when an entity spawns in. I don't know why it took so long for that. But this is cool. They added a new shutdown event to the before events class. Holy crap. So originally when Script API came out, we were wondering like, what do I do with this database when the server shuts down? You know, how do I like fix this issue? We would usually just have to do it on world start, which is kind of problematic because one, it would delay the start of the add-on. It would delay the start of people being able to join the world. Not good. this shutdown event, although I don't know how accurate it would be for like a crash, because that's kind of the problem we were thinking of, but they added it, so maybe it doesn't do that, or we'll have to check that out. But they added a shutdown event to the before events class. So this is now fired after all the players have left the world and the server is about to shut down. So this can be due to like, let's say we want to ensure all the details from the database are synced over. This was a big one I had to deal with. I had to always make like some type of event timer. Every time a player leave the world, I would have to send event data over because I had to be cautious. But this new shutdown event is like, all right, I can add all that stuff I previously had, and now I can be for sure all the database data is sent over to the database after the event shuts down. Very cool feature. I like it. Okay, so like I said before, they added the jump sneak press release details to the input state input APIs, which is very cool. And they added a world event player button input event. Very cool. I like this. Now we can literally check, like let's say, all right, a player's moving, a player's walking. Let's count their total walking. Let's count how many steps they're doing. Very cool. I like this feature. I wonder why we don't have a before event for that. You know, it's something we should have. Odd we don't have that, but very cool. I like that feature. Okay. That's not good. API, I don't know how that's even an issue, but okay. Fill blocks. Okay, there's a few more issues, and we should be down here to the camera target options. Okay, item visual block component, pretty cool. Blah, blah, blah. Aim assist. Aim assist is actually cool. There's a new aim assist command. Okay, I like that. We're going to make a video on that. And the tracking radius, new third person's preset. That's pretty dope. Device info settings. This is actually cool. You can override memory tier used in scripting. So let's say you don't want the server to know how much memory you have. Good feature. Just make sure the server's not doing things that we don't want them to do. We can also check the last input. Very cool. More input mode stuff. I don't know why they've touched on this 3 different times. And then this is cool. We have an input mode change after event. So now we can detect when the player changes input modes. So let's say you're in a tutorial setting and the player's on keyboard, but then they pull out their controller, and now you're like, okay, they're on the controller now. We got to change some details because let's say the UI doesn't work perfectly with the controller. There's a lot of features, a lot of changes that are very important to like just make this script API so much more beautiful, which I really like. They added a new engine error, which is cool. This is what we were looking for. Okay, finally we can get talking about Jigsaw structures. So I've known about this for like a while now, the Jigsaw structures, but now they finally released this into the docs. So amazing. So I'm going to make its own dedicated video on Jigsaw. They are absolutely phenomenal. Jigsaw blocks are literally they've been around for so long, but they've never worked. Like Bedrock has just had crap Jigsaw structures. Now we can literally do so much stuff with generation, with world building, with like, let's say parkour mazes. Oh my gosh, it's phenomenal. I'm going to make an own video about this. But they've added new Jigsaw JSON files into the behavior pack you can now use. You can now customize what kind of Jigsaw details you want to go down, processors, structure sets, template pools. It's phenomenal. I'm going to make a video on this. Just don't worry. It's so cool. But that's pretty much it for the update. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff I didn't go over, like all the new like the blossoms, the creaking heart, the cracking mob, tons of cool things. But overall, this was a phenomenal update, and stay tuned for my next videos where I'm going to be walking through all of those features I discussed in their own separate video because they're so important. Like Minecraft did very good on this update, and I'm very happy to see this update in Minecraft finally that you guys get to play and enjoy. So if you like this video walkthrough about the 1.21.50 update, make sure to leave a comment about what you want me to specifically go over in these future videos. If you want more of these comment videos about updates, I really like doing them, so I might do a lot more of them. Also, leave a like button if you enjoyed this walkthrough, and make sure to join our Discord. Join the Smelly Curry Discord because you will be always updated with a new video drops when, let's say there's a new, series that we want to get your feedback on. anything. Make sure to join Discord. I will see you all in the next video. Peace out and have a great rest of your day. See y'all.